Right, guys, we've got an update on Avax. It's currently trading at $33.67. So we're going to identify exactly whether we're at structure support, structure resistance, what levels are going to be sticking points going forward, and what barriers that we need to break through, what ceilings we need to break through before we can climb through, sit on that floor, have a rest, and then have a turn at the next ceiling. That's an uptrend, my friends. And that brings us on to the one thing. This is a chart request. It's also a question. The question was from the Discord group. And the question was, how do you do your analysis? And I said, I'm going to discuss the things that I look for when I'm first analyzing the chart. And we're going to use the Avax chart for this. So first things first, this is the Avax chart. I haven't looked at this for weeks. One thing that I did build in weeks ago was resistance barriers, resistance barriers, resistance barriers. And look how price has reacted at these resistance barriers. Once we broke through here, we knew that was going to be a resistance. Once you break through there, we know that that's going to be a resistance. Pulling back, that's going to be your support, and then you're breaking through. So what you're doing essentially is trying to break through the ceilings, have a rest, be able to gear up, have enough momentum to be able to push through the next ceiling. So ultimately, the bull swings are bigger than the bear swings, and that creates a higher high and it creates a higher low. That's exactly what we're looking for. So structure is king as far as my trading is concerned. Are we in an uptrend? Are we in a downtrend? And then we can look and we can add in things like indicators. You can add in things like Fibonacci after you know and you identify and you understand exactly where the flow of money is within the pair that you're looking at on the charts. So we're looking at Avax. It is trading at 33.68. Like I said, we were expecting this to be resistance, 35.57. Go back and watch the last video. What happened? That was the rejection point. So ultimately, we know exactly what's happening here. This is the big range. That's the range that we need to be in. But when you go and identify into the smaller time frame, you can see one thing's happening. We're putting in higher highs and we're putting in higher lows, and then we're continuing that to put in higher highs, and then you're expecting to come back for a higher low. So the first support base is going to be the $32.12. That was the resistance barrier. Why? Clues look left. That was a support base here. That was a support base here. You can go further left. That was resistance or support at different times. Support or resistance. So you understand that is your structure. Structure resistance or structure support. If price is below, you're looking at resistance barriers to overcome if you're in an uptrend. If you're in a downtrend, you're looking at support bases and a continuation to the downside if you're actually short in the market. So ultimately, you can see we're in an uptrend. One thing that I like to do to identify before we can get a confirmation that we're going to get a pullback, another wave to the upside, is look how big the swings are. And it does tell a big story. And that's what we're going to do with a Fibonacci extension tool. So stick the Fib extension on there and you're going from this swing, which is the low, all the way to this high. And then we're pulling it back all the way to this swing low. And we need to understand and identify one thing. Where is an extension for the first move? You can see there's swing one, there's the pullback, and there's swing two. And I'd said in the previous video, and that's why we built in these resistance points and these support barriers, that I wanted one thing to happen. I wanted this swing, that swing to be bigger than this swing, which is confirming that there's likely to be a pullback and then an extension to the upside. So that's telling me we're looking for the pullback. We're looking for the pullback. Now, how do you monitor the pullback? Simple. You're putting in a trend line. Once you start getting an accumulation of price, you understand one thing. You're waiting for a breaker trend. You're waiting for a breaker trend. Where are you likely to get a breaker trend? You're likely to get a breaker trend at the previous resistance barrier, which is this level here, between $27.30 and $25.25. So that's what I'm looking for in the short term, because we've hit the resistance that we expected to hit to the T. Now we're waiting for the wave 4 pullback and a wave 5 extension. So it is just a waiting game at the moment, guys. That is overextended. You can tell. We could even bring in the indicators now. We could tell indicators are telling us a story. Story is this is overbought. So the story is overbought, and we can tell that by looking at the RSI, overbought, stochastic, overbought, and then price, resistance, barrier, which we expected to be resistance after this swing. So it is simple. I'm waiting for a pullback. I'm waiting for a pullback to come back and test this level here between $27.20 and $25.17. And then I'm expecting an extension to the upside. Now, we've got this as well. That's the golden cross. That's the retail indicator. That's where the 200 crosses underneath the 50 crosses above. And then each time that you pull back, you'll see that this 50 holds a support, during the course of the swing. So that's what I'm looking for in the short term on Avax. When you're looking at longer term swings, you've got these big barriers here. The $50 is going to be a big barrier. That's a key psychological round number. But once you break through there, you've got little volume, little volume, little volume, all the way to all-time highs. Not there yet, guys. We're going to monitor this over the next coming weeks. If you want more Avax, let me know in the comments. If you want more educational videos, let me know in the comments. And if I didn't explain it well enough for any single one of you, let me know so I can come back and then review this, analyze the charts again, and then go over it and go over it, because the more that you rinse and repeat, the more that you understand these things. Right, that's about it from me for now. I will see you in the next one.